Okay, I'm going to go over real quick an example that somebody asked about on page 606 of your textbook. It's the second purple box from the top, and it says, a patient is admitted to the hospital for severe preeclampsia. She's 36 weeks pregnant. A low transverse cervical C-section, or an LTCS, is performed immediately, and she delivers a healthy baby boy. So the question is, specifically, how do they get to the, not the entire question, but specifically, how do you get to the early onset of delivery code? So I'm not going to code out the entire thing, but we're going to code out the diagnoses. I'm not going to code out the procedures. So let's go ahead and go to add diagnosis. So why was she actually there? Because she did what? She delivered, right? So let's try delivery, okay? And we'll go to number 4. And she came in not only for the diagnosis, not for supervision only. She didn't have a planned C-section, although they did a C-section, it wasn't planned. She didn't deliver before she came in to the hospital. She didn't have a late effect of a problem. She didn't have a normal spontaneous one, but she did have a complication, right? Her complication was a preeclampsia. So she had a delivery with another complication or management problem. So we're going to click that. And sure enough, here we have preeclampsia. So we'll choose preeclampsia. Now, it's going to ask us if she had convulsions or something else. Well, it doesn't mention. Convulsions are very common with preeclampsia if it's severe enough. However, she didn't have any according to the documentation we have. So we're going to choose other and unspecified. Now, here you're going to be tempted at this point to pick unspecified, because what they're giving us is a listing of, okay, why could she possibly have had preeclampsia? Did she have pre-existing hypertension before she was pregnant? Did she have hypertension with renal disease before she was pregnant? Or was there no mention of pre-existing hypertension, or was it unspecified? Although it's unspecified here, we're going to say there's no mention of pre-existing hypertension. Okay? That's it's sort of saying the same thing as unspecified, but it's a little more specific. So we're going to pick that. Now, it's going to ask us what type of preeclampsia she had, and it specifically states she was admitted to the hospital for severe preeclampsia. So we're going to pick number 2. Now, it's going to ask us the episode of care for this patient. So was she undelivered? Nope, we did deliver the baby. Was she delivered during this admission, but the condition began before delivery or onset was unknown? Delivered on this admission, but the condition began after delivery? Delivered before admission? Well, that's a no, right? Condition is indication for current abortion? That's a no. Or unspecified or not applicable? Well, let's look at number 2 and number 3. Delivered on this admit, condition began before delivery or onset unknown. Delivered on this admit, condition began after delivery. We know that because she was admitted for preeclampsia, that very obviously the condition began before delivery, right? So we're going to pick 2. Now, do we have another complication? Absolutely we do. What is that complication? She was only 36 weeks pregnant when we delivered her. So what we're going to pick here is yes, and we're going to spell early. And that's going to automatically bring up early onset of delivery, spontaneous. Now, even though it says spontaneous, don't worry about it, because again, that's a non-essential modifier, right? Which means it could apply or it may not apply. So we have early onset of delivery because we took her in and we took that child. So we're going to pick that. And we're going to click. Okay, here we go. Episode of care. Now it's going to ask us again the episode of care. Did the reason that we delivered her early begin before the delivery? It did, didn't it? It was the preeclampsia. We wouldn't have delivered that child if there wasn't something that was threatening the mother. Do we have any other complications here to code? No. How many infants did she deliver? She had one. And he was live born. It says that he was healthy. And I'm not going to go through coding out the cesarean section and whatnot. I mean, I guess we can. Let's go ahead and say C-section. And what did we do? We did a low transverse. So let's go ahead and do number 4. We didn't have any other things going on here, so no accompanying procedure. And what we end up with is 64251, which is the severe preeclampsia delivered. 64421, which is the early onset of delivery delivered. V27.0, which is the mother of a single live born. And then we have our C-section, 71.4. So I hope that helped.